the experts advice they should complete it, but bearing in mind our practical experience about how, or my practical experience about how repairs go, I would say that I'd have no hesitation to go back to the Ministry of Finance to say, we didn't get what we set out to do done with what you gave us. Could you give us some more?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chairman, given that we're taking out $74 million from this allocated sum for the continuation of the Stabroek market, which $200 million was already spent on, may I ask the Honourable Minister the name of the contractor that is the name of the contracting firm that is executing the job at the Stabroek market? When did he or when did the firm begin the work, and what stage are we at with the current work on the Stabroek market to the tune of $274 million?
Honourable Minister.
You sure? I'm advised that we didn't bring along with us the contractor's name, but that's something we could easily get before the end of the day.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Sir, thank you very much. May I ask the Honourable Minister what stage we're at with the work, and when did the work begin? Since $200 million was already expended last year on this project.
It's 60% finished?
You know the name for me. But you are going to somebody all the time, but you don't know.
But $200 million come out, man.
It defeats your governance narrative. That's what it is.
I'm advised by the engineer that the work has started. It was awarded in November last year, 2025. It has started and it's expected to finish by March month end.
Thank you.
Considering that even as we do this, we didn't want to disrupt the lives of our vendors and the people who use the market, so it's taking a little bit longer than perhaps initially anticipated.
Thank you. Honourable Member, Mr. Maipal. Could I take the Honourable Member, Ms. Halley?
Sorry. Just clarification. Can the Honourable Minister state what percentage of the works have been completed?
One moment. We got the name. The name of the contractor is BM Properties, Inc. That's the name of the contractor.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Ms. Halley.
Yes. Can the Honourable Minister state what percentage of works have been completed on the roof?
I'm advised about 60%.
60%?
60. No.
Honourable Member, Mr. Maipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Minister awarded in November of 2025. A perusal of NPTAB's website guides us that the work was awarded on the 9th of October 2025, and it was awarded to the tune of $107,723,700. May I ask the Honourable Minister, why do we need the additional $74 million when the book is reflecting $200 million already there for that project, and it was awarded in October, the 9th of October, for $107 million plus dollars?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, sir. I didn't give you the contract cost. You kept repeating a cost. I'm assuming you got it from last year somewhere. And thank you for the correction that it was not November, it was October, which makes more sense because 60% from November to now might have stretched the imagination, but it makes sense now that it's at 60% because it was awarded since October. Awarded, work started in November, and because we pay as per completion, measured works, all hasn't been paid.
Mr. Chairman, one other question before we move, please. The contract, as directed on NPTAB's website, is for the Stabroek roof, the repair and rehabilitation. The entire contract sum awarded is $107,723,700. The allocated sum in 2025 was $200 million. The Honorable Minister is coming before this House now from this allocated sum for 74 million more for the very project, which was awarded below the sum approved last year. My question is, why do you need $74 million more for a project that you have already awarded to a sum way below what was approved last year?
Well, the Stabroek market is a big market. In fact, it's called a big market.
We didn't know that.
And so I have to assume that the work for last year and the work for this year are not the same work. And if they are, we would get into, the Auditor General would have that information when they're auditing. So it's not the same thing. And the Chief Planner is also advising me that this is a rollover amount. So it's not as though it's finished. But like I said, we could well have told you last year, we're fixing the roof. And what that meant was changing out zincs. And that was phase 1. And in phase 2, what we're doing is rafters. It could very well be that, something like that.
Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister in the same line, is there money that will be used for the continuation of the East Rumveld market, the Border Green market, which was supposed to commence where we approved 260 million last year. The East Rumveld market, we had approved 50 million last year. And the La Penitence or Alboystown market, which is close to you, sir, for $100 million. And the green space at Merriman's Mall for $75 million. Are there sums of monies in this allocated sum here for the continuation of these projects?
Honorable Minister.
So this year's budget caters for $45 million to do the East Rumveld market. We did not do it last year.
And the next one is the La Penitence or Alboystown market, which we had approved 100 million for last year.
It will. The East Rumveld market will also be done this year.
No, I'm talking about the La Penitence.
Sorry, La
Alboystown.
Penitence, yeah.
So that was not done last year, Mr.
No.
Chairman. May I ask the green space at Merriman's Mall where we had approved 75 million for?
Will be done this year.
That was not done either, sir. Sir, may I ask if the Border Green, where we had approved 40 million for a consultancy and 260 million for the phase 1, if that is being continued under this line, if there's sums of money there for continuation of that.
$2 billion is dedicated towards looking at Border Green and the Stabroek market as a beginning of the Border Green and the Stabroek market.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask if what was a contract awarded already for the Border Green and we're continuing it this year?
There is a...
Sony already do that, man.
No.
So this is we're going to start, Mr. Chairman, fresh for Border Green.
No. It's not fresh. Several consultant companies came to us that are known. And I mean, in fact, I think it's all that we know. And said, we heard you're looking at all these markets and this is something you want to do. And so we're offering our services in design. We have not hired anyone to do a design as yet. So when you say it's starting from fresh, I wouldn't say that because we have seen a concept and there was a bid that went out for expressions of interest. So you're not starting from fresh, but nobody has been awarded a contract to do it as yet.
Chairman, with my last question on this line.
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
And if you would permit me.
Sure.
Sir, we have expended the total sum guided by this budget book, $2.7 billion last year, and every project I am asking about that we awarded this $2.7 billion for last year has either not started or a very small amount was towards it. And now we're here for $2.8 billion for the same line. But why is the book reflecting that all of this money is spent out and we're coming back for the very same projects for the very same amount? If you would permit me, sir.
So, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister.
Yes. We are dealing with 2026, and I encourage the honourable member and all of his colleagues to focus on the future. Let's go forward together.
Thank you, Minister.
Having said that, Mr. Speaker, there were changes of program based on priorities. One of the priorities, evidenced by today's rainfall and its impact, was to look at drainage in and around the city, as a result of which we have Central Housing and Planning Authority.
The same thing was done in 2020.
Do we want the answer, or you guys just want to, yeah.
From one to the other.
We have warranted money to the Central Housing and Planning Authority, who has the capacity and expertise and has demonstrated the ability to do drainage well. So you may see what you say is spent, but that's why it's being reflected that way.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Halley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can the Honourable Minister state of the 200 million that was used, because it's 74 expected to be used this year, or I can ask on the 74, how much of that is actual the labor cost? How much of that is actual cost for the getting the stuff for the building?
Honorable Minister.
So generally when we award contracts, the contractor decides the whole thing would be done for 74 or thereabouts, and how much goes towards material, how much goes towards labor would be the contractor's thing.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 133, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Pages 116 and 117. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 13, Program 134, current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
6294, not I as yet. 6294, sir. Sir, from this budgeted sum $1.942 billion, can the Honorable Minister tell this House the operational expense for the Hagbosh landfill site and for the Luzignan landfill site?
Honorable Member, Honorable Minister.
You asked for Hagbosh and Luzignan?
Yes, yes, Minister. Through you, Chair.
Luzignan would be $150 million and Hagbosh would be just under $400 million.
Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister the name of the contracting firm that is managing the Lusignan landfill site and the name of the contractor that is managing the Hagbosh landfill site?
Honorable Minister.
So Hagsbosh is a conglomerate of several persons who have developed expertise in landfill sites, and that's Waste Solutions Inc. and Lusignan is Times Square.
Sir, may I ask Times Square, may I ask the Honorable Minister, what is the tonnage of waste that goes to the Lusignan site per day and the tonnage of waste that goes to the Hagbosh landfill site per day?
Just look on the side, you'll get the exact.
Honorable Minister.
So Hagsbosh is about 1,100 tons per day, and Lusignan is over 150 tons per day.
Thank
You want to go?
Mr.
You want us to add you to that?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, without a doubt, the Hagbosh landfill site is within an area that is developing. We're having roads, we're having people with homes. The buffer zone really has been significantly not only reduced but encroached upon. Is there any sum of money in this line to cater for a consultancy to open a new landfill site with the same specs and make better, for more modern, for to cater for the waste that is going to Hagbosh, so we can finally close Hagbosh and use the land more constructively?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, I love that you're asking about Hagsbosh. And so Hagsbosh began as the first landfill site that we had in the country. What you said was right. I thank you for recognizing, by the way, the amazing development that's happening on the East Bank with all the housing that has been distributed by the government, so that people now have assets and places to call their homes and can live in dignity. Thank you for recognizing the beautiful highways that have been constructed over the last 5 years. And those are things that have affected the initial buffer zone. Hagsbosh, if you would recall, in or around, because I had the same complaint, we were getting foul smells all the way into the residential neighborhoods, Eccles, Windsor Estates, Providence, Prospect, as well as on the highway. What I'm advised by experts in the ministry is that there are 2 times garbage smells. 1, when it's fresh, or 2, when it's decaying. What we were getting, the decaying garbage travels, the smell travels further, which is why you were getting it in the communities. You would know if you speak to residents of Eccles, Windsor Estates, Prospect, Providence, that that is no longer happening, because between September and December, mid-December, we covered all the exposed old garbage. What you are getting now is a scent on the highway, and that is from the new garbage, because we've just opened cell 3 at Hagsbosh. I am told that the experts in the ministry, whom I trust, it's been a joy to work with them, are feverishly working on some solutions where they hope that even that will be severely and seriously fixed. And so I'm looking forward to that solution. Yes, there is a consultancy that we will do for Lusignan landfill site. All the landfill sites we're looking to construct across the country at Zorgenvliet in Region 2, in Lucretia Catharina in Region 3, in Manarabisi in Region 6, Bon Success at Letem, the 8 new landfill sites, 10 miles in Martica, in Region 5 in the MMA scheme, in Region 10, at Mabura Rockstone, all of those will be modern landfill sites that look at a circular way of disposal of solid waste. I'm also happy to say that hopefully within the course of this year, we will have the country's first solid waste management law, and I hope you'll support that fully. We're currently consulting on that. And that bill had to be revised so that we could look at a circular way of disposal of garbage, which is use, dispose, reuse, rather than the linear way we were looking at before, which was just use and dispose. So landfill sites are getting enormous attention because we understand that one of the main issues or big issues residents face in communities is how reliable and predictable their garbage collection has been and how inconveniencing it is for them when they have overflowing garbage in their surroundings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Minister was kind enough to say that they have begun consultancy for the Lusignan.
Will begin,
sorry.
2026.
So is it the intention, sir, of the government to remove from the Hagbosh completely and move everything to Lusignan by way of expansion of Lusignan, and Lusignan will become perhaps the new Hagbosh of Guyana?
Well, Hagbosh was designed to have cell 1, cell 2, cell 3. Cell 1 and cell 2 are finished. In fact, what we're doing now is we hope we could take you and all of us in here, perhaps sponsored by the Honorable Speaker, and we could go picnic on the closed cells, because that is literally what we're trying to do. Not only close them out, but cover them and make them pretty. We just started using cell 3, and that's in the design. When that's filled, we'll close it. But we don't have a plan to close it prematurely.
Thank you. Sir, the Honourable Minister was kind enough to say there's no plan to close it prematurely. We have the 4 buildings, 12-story office complex that is being constructed by the Ministry of Public Works right around the corner. We have some expansion going on, some schemes and so on. How long more do you anticipate cell 3 will be there in existence and garbage will be going there?
I really like that you're very, very informed of all the development happening. I'm sure you never saw buildings like that going up for the Ministry of Public Works, right?
We do our work well, sir.
Yeah. And I'm glad there's honesty attended to that work, that you could sit in this assembly publicly and say what's happening. Huge buildings, beautiful highways, all the housing schemes.
1.558 trillion budget.
And so Hagbosh is intended to be closed in 2029.
2029, Comrade Speaker, may I ask the Honourable Minister if by 2029 is when we're expected to occupy and use all air, because it presents the current situation at Hagbosh, given the buffer zone being encroached significantly. The stench is still there, sir. I'm not sure if you smell it, but I do very often when I pass there, and I don't live too far from there either. If there is the intention of the minister to finalize everything and try her best to control the stench and everything, and by what time period you're looking to really address Hagbosh so it doesn't become...
I said, sir, that and if the honorable member lives there and he wants to be honest, he will say that he could enjoy afternoons on his veranda now that he couldn't 6 months ago. I said very clearly, and I hold to this because I live there, that communities like Eccles, Windsor Estates, Prospect, Providence, that were getting smells in the community, in the residential areas, that is no longer happening. What we're getting is a foul smell on the highway, and experts in the ministry said they're working on some solutions, and I trust these young people. If we can't get the solutions from them, then we'll go further afield. But I've seen these guys work in 3 months to stop a smell that was happening for the last 7 years, including when your government was in power. And it was not fixed. We have fixed it now, And so I would like to give them the chance to fix the smell that comes onto the highway, not to residential homes.
Thank you, Minister. The Honorable Member, Mr. Hetzberger.
Honorable Chair, Minister, you mentioned about I agree with you in how we dispose of our garbage. We just use and just dispose. Is there anything here I heard you talk about some of the steps you were taking in a policy direction which will eventually lead to legislation in how we dispose of our garbage. I'm very concerned about this, Minister, when it comes to especially the garbage collections. When you're through your streets and these garbage trucks collect the garbage, and when they go through the process, the stench that is left there for hours, even days probably, based on what is disposed. I hope that we are working towards that in the way we dispose of our garbage.
So we are. Two things about that. I'll come back to it in a minute. But we are working on recycling. We're working at separation at source. That means in your home, you will now have plastic here, paper here. I mean, I quipped when we were in the debate and said Mahi Paul there. But so we're looking at separation at source and then separation at the various dump sites also, or various landfill sites. But you know, Honorable Member, this morning our workers were on the streets. And it broke my heart because what we sent them out to do was to pick up all the bottles that have floated up, that were put there and thrown there by citizens. And so this is not going to be simply a matter for me, because I sit in this seat right now, or these offices here, or this government. The nation has to get behind changing out our habits on waste disposal. And other countries have done it, but they didn't do it overnight. So I think a state's duty in something like this is, one, to lead out that change by providing the various facilities. That's the state's duty. And that's why I said this year, every single NDC, every single municipality will have garbage trucks, will have bins, will have markets, will have compactors, but also a massive campaign. You'll see that begin shortly. A massive campaign to change out attitudes and habits about how we ourselves are treating with solid waste. And I hope you can join that campaign. And the people who believe in you, if there are any, that you know, you get them to hear you when you say, we don't want you throwing garbage on the streets. We don't want you eating your Chico and spitting it out on the road. We don't want you businessmen paying people to go throw your garbage somewhere else, even though facilities are available. So I think that's a good thing this entire House could get behind. We could cooperate on that. Sometimes, and I hope that wouldn't be true about this Honorable House, sometimes opposition political parties find it useful to make sure we keep the status quo, so you have a cause. Look, the place nasty, look, the place flood. But we could get behind this because it's good for Guyana, it's good for Guyanese, it's good for children. So together we could try to change out these habits.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
Thank you,
Ms.
Mr. Chair. Just to follow on from what the Minister just said, I've heard about reusing, etc. But I wanted whether the Honorable Minister could say to us, because I know there are at least 2 local operators with the ability to recycle plastics and have the ability to convert it into products like cones, etc. So I'm wondering whether the Minister has in her thinking or in the policy of the ministry to perhaps look at partnering with these operators and maybe incentivizing the collection of plastic bottles, etc. Is that anywhere in what you're thinking?
Honorable
Yes.
Minister.
Yes, the broad answer is yes. I want to be careful because incentivizing always almost has a financial sum allocated to it. And so I want to be careful with saying yes, but we have right now persons who are looking at recycling. There are some complexities to the issue about how much waste is needed for recycling to be beneficial. And so that's what some companies are looking at. I'm happy to say that one known company has invited me to see his operation, Mr. Stevens, which is somewhere on the East Bank. And so we are looking at how we can encourage positively as well as through penalties negatively the changing out of these habits. We're looking at a bottle depot, so that you get compensated for bringing the bottles rather than pitching them on the street, those kinds of things. So yes, we are looking at it. And thank you for being interested in it.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 134 current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Page 518, honorable members. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 134 Capital stands part of the estimates. The honorable member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. From waste disposal, we move again to markets, sir. Project code 130-2200, Community Infrastructure Improvement Projects. A budgeted sum here of $18,463,700,000. Sir, from this allocated sum, can the Honorable Minister tell us how much is towards the completion of the Port Kaituma market, which began last year and was allocated a sum of 100 billion. The western section of Monrepo market, which began last year and was allocated a sum of 200 million. And 75 million for the rehabilitation of the Unity market, which began last year. 50 million for the Rose Hall market. 75 million for the Bath market in Region 6, I think. Region 5, sorry. 50 million for Rosignol railway line. 200 million for the Anna Regina market. And 30 million for the Port Morant market. 79 million for the, 180 million for the number 79 market. And 40 million for the Lethem Municipal Market. Those are some sort that we have allocated, approved, and based on the guidance of the book, it was expended in 2025. From this allocated sum, how much is towards the completion of these very markets that began last year?
Honorable Minister.
So these are the sums that are rolled over into this year, to be completed this year. Port Kaituma at 38.383, 38,383,000. The Bath Market, 95,004,000. The Railway, Rosignol Railway Line Market, 29 million. Rehabilitation of Unity, 1 million. Rehabilitation of Rosignol, 25.6 million. Sorry, not Rosignol, Rose Hall. Rehabilitation of Port Morant, 2.3. Rehabilitation of numbers 7 to 9, 50.2. Rehabilitation of Lethem, 42.9, give or take a couple thousand here or there for all of them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, with these sums that the Honorable Minister was kind enough to call, which are allocated in this $18.5 billion, would this see the completion of these markets?
Honorable Minister.
I want to, it would complete what the initial scope of works was. However, markets are this hub of economic activity for the people who vend there. It's a place of communion for communities. It's a place of socialization. It's part of our culture. And so this would complete the initial scope. Whether we continue to be happy with what the initial scope was would become an issue. Because I now want to see markets that might look a little bit differently. We have some minimum standards. We want to make sure every market has good sanitation, good sanitary facilities, excellent protection from the weather, which would be roof, organized stall spaces, organized vendor spaces, so wet fish and so on in one place, haberdashery in another place, dry goods in another place, cloth and fabrics in another place. So what we want evolves over time, and I believe, so this, to answer you directly, this would complete the initial scope. I wouldn't want to say that's the end of whatever we have to do at those particular markets. We might have a new scope that is more evolved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Minister may have missed the Anne Regina market where we expended 200 million last year. How much is to complete that market this year?
Honorable Minister.
So Anna Regina was not done last year. It's going to be done this year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask the Honorable Minister, the markets that were listed there that the Honorable Minister gave the sums that are allocated in this sum here, means that contracts were awarded. May I ask the Honorable Minister the name of the contracting form for the markets she just listed, Port Kaituma Market, the western section of Monrepo Market,
No, hold on.
the Unity Market, Rose Hall, Bath Market, Rosignol Market, and the Letem Market, sir.
Monrepo.
And the awarded sum, if possible, Mr. Chairman.
So Monrepo, I don't know, you seem to have particular interest in particular markets, so we got to comb through all the several markets we're looking at.
Because I oftentimes, sir, visit these markets and they don't reflect the amount of money budgeted.
Monrepo would be per mall trading and distribution, and budgeted would be $303 million. Which other one he said? Which one? You visit Port Kaituma? When? No. Bath Rosignol Market would be DBL Group Inc. and rolled over would be $29.5 million. Bath Market would be Yadram and Sons Construction, and that would be $95 million. You never visited Bath Market. You gotta send me that picture, Ganesh. Rehabilitation of Port Morant Market, HE and SAI Investment. Rehabilitation number 79, Yadram and Sons Construction. And the Lethem Market, KV Contracting Services. And these...
Rosignol Market, sir, please.
Go ahead, Minister.
And to be clear, these markets all went to public tender, were evaluated at the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board, which is directed by law, and therefore awarded in accordance with the law.
The Rosignol Market, please, sir. The 50 million last year was spent.
Minister, Rosignol Market.
DBL Group Inc. But I'm telling the honorable gentleman, he never went here, sir. He said he interested in them because he went. When
So
he
we'll,
went,
we'll
there
make a
was not.
special arrangement for the two persons to go to all the markets.
Thank you, Comrade
With
Chairman.
2 baskets in each hand.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask the Honorable Minister what percentage of the Rosignol Market in specific is completed thus far?
Honorable Minister.
So yes, 2 markets had issues that we had to be conscious of, and I've been very clear that, you know, as much as we want to build these markets and get vendors off the road, we also have to be very conscious that this is their livelihood. And 2 markets gave us some trouble where vendors thought at Christmas or the run-up to Christmas would not have been an ideal time to build, and one of them is the Bath Market. The other is the Rosignol Market, but those have begun.
Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister, how much money from this allocated sum is towards the culture market in Palmyra, Region 6?
Honorable Minister, Culture Market.
It's 404, sorry, it's in 3 lots, the culture market in Palmyra. And the rollover sums would be 404 million, 0.8. Like I said, give and take a couple of thousand all through these sums. 408 million at 0.3, 284 million dollars. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very
Honorable
much.
Member, Mr. I have the Honorable Member, Mr. Hitzberg, taking a little while.
Honorable Minister, thank you, Mr. Chair. As we are on markets, is there anything in the budget here as it relates to Pleasance Market?
Yes. Yes.
And if so,
Honorable
if
Minister.
While
amount,
we
please.
find it, yes, while we find it, I had a really pleasant experience there. I had lemonade. When last you had lemonade from the bottle?
yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Right, so they had lemonade there. We had a really nice Sunday morning visit. And the Pleasance Market, the vision for it is to, because of its smallness, where is it? So Pleasance Market would see us going up and not just staying flat, as well as having a wet section that is separate. There was a really nicely done tarmac by the Ministry of Public Works just west of the market, across the road to the market. And so yes, there is a plan to this year begin and hopefully even finish a new Pleasance Market.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member,
Mr. Chair?
follow up.
Yes,
Mr.
not a follow-up. On the 1904-300, this speaks to subventions for municipalities and NDCs. I know the government would have taken a line where increasing the subventions for the LAAs. What criteria did we use to raise the subvention? This is against the backdrop, Honorable Minister, that when you look at the LAAs, especially the NDCs, they are not the same in population and size. And take, for instance, I'll give you an example, Mora Perica, as compared to Lagrange Nimes, two different LAAs in size. How do we justify that across the board subvention for all these? And if we go to the municipalities, for 50 million, when you look at Madhya as compared to Georgetown, how do we justify those across the board? So
We didn't raise the subvention for this year. It remains what it was last year. But it's $30 million per NDC and $50 million per municipality. We did raise it as a government from what it was before, a time you might be more familiar with, where it was nothing really. I think the question is valid because I myself have had that question. You have some NDCs with 12 villages and some with 12 streets, and then you get the same thing. So it's a good question. It's something to look at, and it is something I'd like to look at too. For now, it remains at $30 million per NDC, $50 million per municipality, which is moving from $5 million and $18 million before. So a huge increase, gives a lot more autonomy, allows for a lot more work to be done in communities locally that are determined directly by those communities. But it has not been increased from last year to this year, but it's a valid comment.
A follow-up, Honorable Minister. With the distribution of these subventions for my education and for the nation at large, how are these subventions dispersed to these LAs? and the usage, how they report on the usage.
Right. So we're very committed to following the Constitution, our country's most supreme law. And so we insist that local organs consult with their communities and then go back to council, discuss what may be best, and then present to the ministry what it is they'd like to do, as a result of which money is then released to do that work. And then it's obviously audited.
Thank
So
you very
that's how,
much.
that's the process.
Thank you very much, Minister. I have
Chair?
the honorable member, Ms. Natasha Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up on the rollover for the Rossignol market, can the minister say what's an expected date of completion for the Rossignol market?
Three to
Minister.
5 months.
Honorable member, Mr. Mahipol.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask the Honorable Minister for the name of the contracting forms that are dealing with the 3 lots for the culture market at Palmyra and the awarded sum. And I wanted to go also to follow up on my honorable friend's question on the subvention, to say that it adds up to $2.6 billion. The budgeted sum here is $2.8 billion. What is the ministry intended to do with the additional $200 million?
Honorable Minister.
The honorable member kindly repeat the question.
Sir, the first one was with reference to the culture market. She indicated that it is awarded in 3 lots, the name of the contractors for the 3 lots and the awarded sum. Yes, and secondly, the subvention to NDCs and municipalities with $50 million to municipalities and $30 million to NDCs will give you a sum total of $2.6 billion. The budgeted sum here is $2.8 billion. What will the ministry do with the additional $200 million?
Honorable Minister.
So the 3 lots that were awarded, and they are persons in law, Blueprint Builders Inc. was lot 1 at 404.8. Sorry, the contract sum is 468. Second lot was Permall Trading and Distribution. Contract sum is 480.3, $100 million. The third lot was A&K Construction at $334.1 million. Again, give or take a couple of thousands.
Mahipol.
The $200 million that is from the subvention to NDC and municipalities, the extra $200 million.
But that's based on your calculations, right?
Right.
Yes, sir. At 10 municipality by 50 million and 70 NDC by 30 million gives you 2.6.
Go ahead, Minister.
So in every local democratic organ, particularly at NDCs, we are putting in, not we, the government is, but the Ministry of Housing is really aggressively creating single window spaces where persons could go, and instead of going to the environmental health officer and then the architect and then the NDC and then housing to get a permission to do an extension. And you know, we have more disposable income in the country now. People are doing better, there are more jobs. More people are owning their own homes, are being able to extend their homes because our country is doing better, our people are doing better. So this is a very important program for us. at these NDCs, we pay sometimes for the internet, we pay sometimes help desk persons. So although it's majorly run by the Ministry of Housing because it is hosted in the local democratic organ, sometimes to make sure it works, we help out under this line with this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal, let's give the Honorable Chief Whip an opportunity.
This is how we're taking long.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Going back to the subventions, can the Honorable Minister state whether there's a criteria that the NDCs and the municipalities have to work with when determining how they spend their subventions?
Honorable Minister.
Again, a consultation with the people the money or the programs are intended to benefit. So that's the first thing in terms of process. Whether we have a written document on what they can do, the answer is no. But it has largely been understood to mean smaller projects because other ministries deal with larger projects. So a footpath bridge, a bus shed, community ground, fence a community ground, fix a small street. Those are typically the kinds of things we see.
Thank you. Just to follow up this.
Bearing in mind that a street would be done by the Ministry of Public Works, drainage would be done by NDIA.
Should be.
Well, your colleague just said how many streets and highways were built. So I mean, we drive in the same. We live in the same country. The street network has changed out completely. I mean, you'd have to be blind not to see that.
Minister, honorable members, this is really informative engagement, but I am testing the patience of some people. I'm 7 minutes over, so I can take.
I just have one follow-up, sir, and then I'm
go
done.
ahead.
The follow-up question is: does the government have veto power once the NDCs and municipalities come with their view on what they believe is best for the city or the NDC? Does government have veto power over their decisions?
Minister?
It comes back to consultation. Once the community agrees with the program put forward, that would be honored.
Honorable Member,
But
Mr.
where we find out that the community was not consulted and therefore Article 13 was not upheld, then we would encourage them to go back and have that done.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, sir, for acknowledging me to have the final question, and I will move to Project Code 3600-300.
Honorable Member, I thought it was going to close off the line item which we were dealing with. But to put a new one, it's going to be a little hard.
But all I want, sir, is the one question to the minister.
Go ahead.
The minister said in her budget speech that they're opening 8 new landfill sites from this budgeted sum of 5.964 billion. Would the honorable minister just be kind to tell us the sums allocated to the 8 new landfill sites, which was listed as Zorgenvliet, Katrina, Lusignan, Blair.
Okay, but you ask her and she has that.
Okay.
You know, please.
And just to remind you that this is the beginning of the modern landfill sites that will be done all across the country. Zorgenvliet would be 300 million, Laurentia Katrina 480 million, Lusignan 600 million, Blairmont 280 million, 58 Village Manor Ribisi would be 350, 10 Miles Bartica would be 200, Mont Success 400, Mabura Rockstone 300.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, we will have to put the program, and I so do, that the sum stated for program 134 capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Thank you, Minister, and your staff, especially the market staff.
I
taking
do-
us through that program.
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
do thank this particular team. I boast that we have the last Chinese public servant in the country, or the only Chinese PS in the country. Comes with all kinds of benefits there, sir.
But I don't know the
and-
name Lord. Go ahead.
And as you see behind me, a very young team, dedicated, a small team, but really a joy to work with. So I thank them all, even those who are not here today.
Thank you very, very, very much. Let us invite Region 1 to join Minister of Local Government and Regional Development as we prepare to take questions on the estimates for Region 1. And really commend the Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal, for the work he has been doing. Thank you. Honorable members, we are starting at 3:20. And I propose the question, turn to pages 342 and 43. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Program 711, Regional Administration and Finance current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Chief Whip, for the opposition.
Thank
Ms.
you,
Halley.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, can we turn your attention to 6116, where there is a significant increase in contract employees? Can the Honourable Minister state the designation of these contracted employees?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, 3 typist clerks, 1 clerk, 1 caretaker, 2 kitchen maids, 1 data entry clerk, 1 cleaner, 3 accounts clerks, 2 community liaison officers, 1 cook, 1 district development officer, 1 handyman, 1 senior personnel officer, 1 confidential secretary, 1 driver, 1 supply expediter.
Honorable Member, Ms. Halley. That's it. Honorable Member, Dr. Todd. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Program 711, current stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let us turn to page 553. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 711 capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 711 capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Just for the newer MPs, Public Works, Education, Health, and Agriculture have their own budgets under all 10 regions, so you'll see this coming up over and over again. Let us turn to pages 344 and 345. And I propose a question that for this agency, Program 712, Public Works current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, may I turn your attention to 6231, fuel and lubricant. Sir, in 2025, this region expended a sum total of $618,500,000. And for this year, there's a significant decrease to $285,426,000. May I ask the Honorable Minister, given what was spent in 2025, would this reduction hamper the work of the region? And if not, can she say why the significant reduction, please?
Honorable Minister.
Yeah. No, it won't. Not because it won't because although you don't see it reflected here, the allocation needed is going to be done somewhere else, and that is through the Hinterland Electrification Company that's taking on responsibility of fuel and lubricants for the Mabaruma Powerhouse and the Moruca Powerhouse. So the people of Mabaroon and Moruca will not suffer in any way because of this reduction.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 712 Public Works current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Page 553. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 712 capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan Husserl.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The bridge that leads into Husserl, the Kusarima Bridge. Sir, this bridge has been down for a little while. The region says they finally completed it as per my last visit. I want to know if that is reflected here, if there's any funding here for the Kusarima Bridge. Kobarima Bridge, thank you very much.
Public Works. Right. So
Speaker confusing me.
it is being done by the Ministry of Public Works. It was completed by the Ministry of Public Works. Completed, right? Completed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. What bridges are we catering for here under this line item, on this project?
So that would be 2 bridges at Oranok, which is Materkai, a bridge at Barnes Farm, Matthews Ridge, the construction of a bridge at 50 Acres, rehabilitation of the Gavel Surface Road Bridge. Sorry. Yeah, those 3 bridges that I just mentioned.
Thank you, Minister.
Under this ministry. But I want to raise with the honorable member as well as other honorable members and the nation that this is not the only ministry that does bridges. So you have an allocation of over $40 million for roads and bridges under the Ministry of Public Works. You might have an allocation under the Ministry of Housing. You have an allocation under the NDIA. So there are very many different organizations and agencies doing all the fantastic work you see. So you mightn't see it reflected in the region's budget or even in the Ministry of Local Government. That doesn't mean it's not happening.
Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Minister, we're well aware of the projects being executed in the region, and part of this process is to see if they're as lovely as you say they are. Could we have the engineer's estimate for the bridges that you are doing?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, and just to tell you, I have never flown from Maruca to Quebana. I never even knew a flight was available. I went by boat, I went by road, I climbed up a hill that was slidey, but I never flew. And you know why I went several times? Because we're building this fantastic new school there, secondary school, that will take off all the kids from the Barama River who've never had access to discrete secondary education before. So you in our region want more than me. You
Is
go
it
couple
completed?
times.
Have you flown by helicopter?
It's not completed. No, I haven't flown by helicopter. I've gone by boat, I've gone by road, and I've gone by
Mr. Chair.
feet. The engineer's estimate for the RC bridge is $19 million for the Ornock bridge is $19 million, for the Matthews Ridge Farm Bridge, Barnes Farm, $25 million, and for the 50 acres bridge, $35 million.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, thank you.
I have the Honorable Chief Whip for the opposition, then I have the Honorable Member, Ms. Dawn Hastings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 1400400 roads. Can the Honourable Minister state what roads are going to be catered for under here?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, a road at Mabaruma and at High Macabra. Two different roads.
Do you have the engineer's estimates for that too?
Yes, at Mabaruma, $18 million, and at High Macabra, $42 million.
And the, sorry, Mr. Chair, and the actual length of the road?
1.5 km at Mabaruma, and at High Macabra, 4.1 kilometers.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Dawn Hastings.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. The question.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put Honorable Member Mr. Duncan taking us back into the ring.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Minister, at Silver Hill in Mabaruma, there was a road that was originally done. Residents told us that that road had to be dug up because it was improperly done, and it's now in the process of being completed. Are there sums here for the completion of that road?
Yeah.
Minister.
That's why we stick to line items, because it's not being done by this ministry.
Thank you,
Public
Minister.
Works.
Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Sir, 2601400 power supply. I see a sum here. Last year we spent 106,917,000, and this year we have a budgeted sum of 50 million for the provision of for electricity distribution networks. There are several communities, sir, in Region 1 that are not a part of the township, for example, like Mabaruma, and you have other communities like Port Kaituma and Matthews Ridge that are growing in population and popularity. Is this sum to expand the network to capture more communities, or is it to further develop what is already existing and make it more resilient in terms of power supply?
Honorable Minister.
Yes. So we're establishing a grid at Baramita. Baramita is now going to get a grid for their community, and we're upgrading and expanding at Waramuri. Now, if you know where Waramuri is, they just got a brand new secondary school for the children of both Waramuri as well as those villages like High Macabra and so on. So they actually need brand new secondary school with classrooms and labs, and their first secondary school. So they actually need an expansion. So that's what's happening there.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for program 712 capital stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let us turn to pages 346 and 47. And I propose the question, same agency, Program 713, Education Delivery Current Expenditure. And I propose the question that the sum stated herein stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 713, Education Delivery Current Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Please turn to page 553. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Program 713, Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Project code 1202600. I see a sum there of 321,941,000, and it speaks for the provision of schools and education facilities. But in the description, it just repeats that. Can the Honorable Minister say if this caters for more than one schools or just one, and what is the name of the school?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you for your question. I'm sorry my friend isn't here, Mr. LaCruz.
Honorable.
Honorable Mr. LaCruz. We're building or have built 6 new secondary schools in Region 1. That's to allow for all children in Region 1 to access a discrete secondary education. They're at Northwest Secondary, Hosororo, Quibana, Waramuri, Matthews Ridge, and I think I said Hosororo. And we're going to begin Manawaran also. That's 6 new secondary schools. But for this program here, we're going to be expanding the Arakaka Primary School, reconstructing Kariako Primary, that's in the Barama River. I'm sure Minister Sarah Brown is very happy to hear that because she's asked repeatedly. We're extending the Port Kaituma Primary. This will also include a provision for the unit. We're extending Canal Bank Primary, reconstructing a center at Maruka, the sub-region of Maruka. We're building a school at 5-Star Primary, Eyelash Primary, Big Creek Primary, 5-Star, and then we're building teachers' quarters at 5-Star, Eyelash, and Big Creek. Now, I just wanted to point out to you and for the benefit of the nation that places like Eyelash before didn't have schools, because although the country has been deemed by the United Nations to have achieved universal primary education, these were really itinerant mining communities. People have now settled there, and the kind of government we are, we're very responsive. So we're actually going in to build schools where they have new settlements, and I'm very, very pleased about that. So that's where you see showing up here.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipal.
A follow-up, sir.
Go ahead.
The schools that were named there for some extension and in some cases building new schools and the likes, we had expended from this very line 183,135,000 last year, and now we have the budgeted sum of 321.9 million. Any of those schools that were named, is it a rollover that is continuing under this line of which sums are catered for?
Yes, 2 of them. Arakaka at $12 million, 12.1, and Kariako at 8.4.
Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister, given that the sums in this allocation is for Arakaka and Kariako 12.1 and 8.4 respectively, what is the total sum of money awarded when these schools began, and who are the contracting firms that are doing the work currently?
Yes.
And when is the expected completion date?
One moment.
I think so. Only 9? Come here with one.
It's 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna be right here.
I'm advised by the REO that both of them are the contractor is Zoya and Friends.
Both schools are being built by one contractor, you said? At the same time?
I am so advised.
Okay, may I ask what date, sir, were these contracts awarded to this one contractor? Zoya.
Cariaco is 2024 in September. Sorry, the 24th of September. And Arcaca is December.
December of 2025, sir?
Minister?
December of 2025, sir?
Minister?
I thought so. I want to be a little bit clearer because I know it hasn't started. I knew it hasn't. I didn't think it started, and it's now being clarified by the REO that Cariaco has not started. It was awarded and the person is currently mobilizing. So if people at Cariaco who have internet, who heard me say that their school has started, it has not started as yet. It is to be started. It was awarded in December of 2025. Part of the issue I'm being advised by the REO is the level of the water in the Barama River, which disallows easy transportation to and from these villages, which affects and impacts how work is done, civil works are done.
So it was awarded, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, on the 24th of September 2025.
One of them.
That's the Cariaco.
No, that's Arcaca.
Arcaca. So Cariaco was awarded in December of 2025. To what tune?
Reggae?
To what tune? $30 million for Arcaca and $21 million for Cariaco.
Sir, may I ask the Honorable Minister, she
Yes,
indicated
you may.
earlier that Cariaco in this budgeted line item has an additional sum of 8.4 million and Arcaca has an additional sum of 12.1 million. If this school has already been awarded for $21 million, which is from the sum of last year, based on the engineer's estimate, and has not commenced as yet, what informed you that this school requires an additional 8.4 million?
It's a rollover amount, I'm advised.
But yes, sir, I understand that. But I'm saying to you that the school has not commenced as yet. You awarded it for $21 million from an allocated sum of $183.135 million. You awarded it at that sum to the contractor. It has not begun because of various problems, and it is shown here that the $21 million is spent out. We have paid the contractor apparently for the work, and if we haven't, then the money should have been returned to the Consol Fund. But notwithstanding that, sir, what informed you that the Cariaco school requires an additional 8.4 million, and what informed you that the Arcaca school required an additional 12.1 million? If these schools are, if you have not changed the specs, if you have not changed, sir, what is and what the school is to get, you have not added, you have not done a change of scope, you have worked with what is the engineer's estimate, you have awarded it at a sum. What informed you for the additional sums?
Thank you, Honorable Member, Honorable Minister.
For both projects.
I'm advised that the mobilization was paid for both projects, but it wasn't, all of it wasn't spent as you are suggesting.
So, thank you, sir. So the mobilization was paid from the 21 million that was awarded and the 30 million awarded. The school's total sum for construction is 30 and 21, respectfully. If you may permit me one more time, sir, what informed you to cater for an additional
Honorable
sum?
member,
It's rolled over, sir.
Yeah,
so,
how something a rollover you can start?
honorable members, I now put it, honorable member, Ms.
You can
Halley,
start roll, how we go roll over?
roll down.
I just, can I ask my question? Can the Honorable Minister state what's the date of completion for both schools?
Honorable Minister,
They have a proposed date of completion.
Yako is the end of March and Matakai, Arakaka June. But I will say this, having gone to those communities, it is almost inexplicable how the height of the river makes a huge difference about what could happen in these communities. Some of the material needed simply can't get into the community if it's low, if the water is low.
in the Barama.
So in the Barama River. Very happy I went there several times. So this is, while it is scheduled for March and June, it could get impacted by external factors such as those.
Mr. Chair, forgive me. I'm not an expert in project management, but when you notice that you're going to do a project, don't we take all of those things into consideration when determining start time and end time, and with taking into consideration the river might go high? So I'm trying to understand why would it is that you would state a date knowing that you most likely will not meet that date?
In an ideal world,
Yes.
at a desk, in an AC parliament, all that sounds nice.
In a properly AC regulated. Because we have
in a winter-rid parliament.
yeah, we have a automatic system.
Yes.
When you feel cold, I have to tell them to shut off.
Yes, sir. In an ideal world, sitting at a desk, looking at how project management works, saying that you
Yes.
should plan for rain and rising of rivers and dropping of rivers, the answer is yes. But I'm sure if you were to speak to Ms. Hastings, she'll tell you it doesn't work ideally, especially in these hinterland communities. You might be able to get wood one season, and then you can get wood from the same community or for the same community in another season. You might get workers in one season, and then a gold rush is found or discovered or established in a place, and you lose all the workers to that gold rush. So you have those kinds of variables that can't really cater for. I'd like to be in the ideal world that exists in your office, at your desk, but unfortunately it's not that.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Chair, I just want to confirm, just want to confirm that the dates that the both schools were awarded were in 2025, or both were in 2025, just to confirm.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I'll put Honorable Member, Ms. Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, sir. On the same line item, we're dealing with 1202600. If the Honorable Minister could just turn her attention to page 314 in volume 2. When we're looking at the indicators there, sir, we heard the Minister talk about the schools that are being built. A lot has been said about the infrastructure work that is in process and all of that. But if you were to look at the indicators, Honorable Minister, you will see that the 2025 report for matriculation in Region 1 was 8%, with boys actually being 9% and girls 7%. And the target for 2026 is 35%. So my question to the Honorable Minister, yes, we've seen buildings and all of that, but based on these indicators, it says that the outcome is not being achieved. So what differently will be done in 2026 to move the matriculation rate in Region 1 from 8% to 35%?
Yeah, so I'm not seeing where you're reading, but I'll take your figures. So matriculation addresses a particular metric. It's 5 or more subjects at the CSEC level that includes math and English. Now, if you don't have schools that children could go and sit in, the actual physical infrastructure, as you call it, then they can't matriculate. We're building 6 secondary schools in Region 1 now. That will tell you the great need that we had in Region 1. So you had children who had no school from which they could matriculate, hence a low number. Once we put these schools in place, you now have the ability, the children now have access, a classroom to sit in, a desk and bench to sit in. We've expanded our teacher training program to a point where we now have trained teachers in these areas. So you're more likely to have children being able to do this fancy word, matriculate, right? 5 or more subjects, including math and English, and passing them. So that's why you see low figures in the hinterland. We're building 44 secondary schools in the country, built or are building. 26 of those are in hinterland communities, regions 1, 7, 8, and 9, and Oriala. Prior to that, those children had no school to sit in. So yesterday I heard the Honorable, your leader, not the shadow of the opposition leader, I suppose, asking why we had a dropout rate. We don't have a dropout rate. We just don't have a place for children to complete. So take Camarang. The kids go to the primary top at Camarang, and at grade 9 they have nowhere else to go to. They're loose into the pasture. So they will be counted as children who didn't complete. But it is that they weren't given the chance to complete. Now that we're building 4 secondary schools in Region 7, Jawala, Philippi, Isano, and Carao, those kids are going to have a classroom to go and sit into, and so they will not be recorded as dropouts. That's Region 7. In Region 1, we're building 6 secondary schools, so you ought to see a better matriculation rate, because not only are we building the schools, we are also training teachers. So right now you have teachers trained in areas that don't provide secondary education, waiting for the schools to finish so that they could provide secondary education. Or you have places like Osororo and Kwabana, where you have expansive teacher quarters, where if they don't yet have subject specialists, we can incentivize teachers and send them in there to deliver the education those children need.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Follow up through you, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Honourable Minister, I do note your comment about having the schools in the area, but my question more so is when it comes to the curriculum, how is it going to be treated with? And I just want you to note, Honourable Minister, that without the schools and the physical infrastructure that you referred to in 2016, the math pass rate in Region 1 was 21%. 2018, it was 30%. And that was without these schools that you're referring to. And now we're talking about when we do have in the building, it's at 8%. So definitely it goes further than this physical infrastructure. And what are we doing with the curriculum that we're putting at work?
It does go further. The stats you quote are pre-COVID. All the IFIs, that would be international financial institutions that did studies on COVID and its impact, made consistent predictions. 1, you would end up with early school leaving, what we call dropouts here, and 2, you would have such amazing learning loss that we would never be able to catch it back. What happened is in 2025, for example, the entire Caribbean dropped by 7% in mathematics. By 2025, Guyana, because of particular programs put in place, such as a math intervention program, the provision of textbooks, geometry sets, calculators, trained teachers, programs on the Learning Channel, we were able to raise our pass rate by 5%. The rest of the Caribbean only raised by 3%. The children who wrote CSEC in 2025 were children who did not get first and second form teaching. They didn't get basic teaching because of COVID. Now you speak of a curriculum and you speak of matriculation. The curriculum for matriculation, let me break that down a little bit. all who gonna write CXC in fifth form will write CXC based on a curriculum set by the Caribbean Examinations Council. It's not a local issue. And so we can't change the curriculum. What we have to do is reform if needed what we have to do. But to quote statistics in 2016, in any event, a child writing CSEC in 2016 would have had tutoring from 2010 to 2015 under the PPPC. So that child in 2018 would have been writing there or being tutored since they were in first form, and so that's the results you're seeing there. When you see poor results in 2021, is the 5 years before that you gotta look at. So those are some of the complexities we don't like to talk about, but these are the realities.
Thank you, Minister.
Very big.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put a question.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable member, Ms. Ali.
Thank you. We have, I'm at 240-1500.
2401.
Provision for vehicles, boats, and engines. I would like to know if these for the children. The usage of the children.
Honorable Minister.
So we're purchasing a SEND bus, that's special education needs. You know, the country is taking a new look at how we treat with children who have special needs as far as it relates to our education sector. In fact, shortly we will open the country's first deaf school. President just opened the country's first disability school in Region 3. And in this year's budget, through the Ministry of Education, the first autistic school will be built. This is to buy a disability bus with a hydraulic lift and 5 outboard engines, again for the Maruka sub-region, for schools at St. Nicholas, Kamwata, Cookrit, and Kariako, and the newly established Warramuri Secondary, where children are coming from High Macabre and where? Para, Pimpla Creek. I just remember those. And then we have 5 shed boats that will be bought for the same sub-region. So yes, it is for the children of Region 1.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 713, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Pages 3, 48, and 49. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Program 714, Health Services, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member Femi Corlett.
Mr. Chair, line item 6281. There's been an increase of 37,800,000. Can the Honorable Minister provide a detailed breakdown of this increase?
Honorable Minister.
Who is providing security? Strategic Action Security Limited. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Honorable members, I now put a question that
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Miss
One question.
Sarabo Hali.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'm looking at the contracted employees has increased. Can I get from the Minister the designations of these contracted employees?
Honorable Minister.
3 medics, 2 dentist extenders, 1 orthopedic technician. This is beautiful. Region 1 is getting a lot of dental work experts here. 1 pharmacy assistant, 4 hospital porters, 3 cooks, 3 ward maids, 3 vehicle drivers, 2 receptionists, 2 office assistants, 1 mortuary maid, 1 records clerk, 8 hospital.
Thank you. Can the Honourable Minister, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
just a quick follow-up. Can the Honourable Minister state their whether, based on this increase, whether the health services in Region 1 are now fully staffed?
Minister?
1%.
I'm always careful to say a health service is fully staffed. So of my own, I'll say no, because you can always do it more porters, more maids, more medical technicians, more doctors. It depends on what standard you're heading for. What we are building in Region 1 is a brand new hospital, and with the expansion of our health facilities, we will need more staff. So, you know, in 1997, when I first started talking about why people should vote for the PPP, we were counting health huts. We've now moved to health centers, and we're moving those health centers into district hospitals and then regional hospitals. And so there's always a constant need for a review of what staff you have and what staff you need.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Minister, you just mentioned you're building a brand new hospital in Region 1. Could you tell us where the hospital is being built and the stage the hospital is at?
Honorable Minister.
It's being built at 3 Miles, Maruka. So Maruka is one of the sub-districts of Region 1. And it's being built through the Ministry of Health, Central Ministry.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 714 of this agency health services current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let us turn to pages 553 and 54. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 714 capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I know Ms. Halley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can the Honorable Minister state what retention is being paid on this line item? 120-2400.
Honorable Minister. Huh?
Did you say retention?
Yes, it says provision for health facilities and payment of retention.
So it would be for the construction of a health center at Haimruni, construction of a health center at Arwanza, construction of a health center at Cloudland, and construction of a health center at Aruka Mouth.
Can you, thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you, Honorable Minister, state the percentage completion? Is it that they're all completed at this stage?
Minister?
No, they aren't. They have completion dates, all of them, I'm advised.
Can you state those completion dates,
March.
please?
They're all expected to be completed in March.
Okay. Based on what we saw before, in terms of the staffing, would we then have to come back to get staff for these new health facilities?
Minister?
There was a massive training held last year for medics and CHWs and PCAs, nursing assistants. And so we believe that there would be enough staff for these health centers who were already trained.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Chair, I just, I'm not sure if I'm permitted, but I'll ask you to say whether or not I can. In terms
I'm also advised by the RHO that he actually has the staff for all 4 of these and that he's waiting on the completion of the building.
So
Thank
it's
you,
already budgeted for, or he
The
has
staff?
them on standby?
But new staff is usually budgeted for under the Ministry of Finance, not under the ministry or in the region.
Okay. So I was just wondering whether with these new health facilities, whether there's a doctor that will be on site 24, or there'd be somebody that's on call that will have to come into the region every...
There would be health workers on site 24
doctors?
hours. Health workers.
Okay.
Various levels of health workers.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for program 714, capital expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it, sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Let's turn to pages 350 and 51. Honourable members, I propose a question that for Agency 71, Program 715, Agriculture Current Expenditure, that the estimate stated herein stands part of the estimates. Honourable Member, Ms. Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, line item 6116, there are three contracted employees covered under this program. The question is, for the entire region, is that a full complement? Yes, for
Honourable
agriculture.
Minister.
These are new employees who are being supported by the Central Ministry, Ministry of Agriculture. And these would be agricultural extension officers, 2 agricultural officers, assistants, and, well, 1 assistant and 2 officers. But that's not the only 3 persons working in Region 1 in the field of agriculture.
Mr. Chair, if you look at the legend, a quick look at the legend says in 2025 it's 0, and then in 2026 you have 3 contracted staff. Can you tell us, because I noticed in Capital there are some initiatives, in the sub-districts, how many staff do you have for agriculture?
Honourable Minister.
33 staff paid central.
There are about 33 staff members in agriculture for the region. And that doesn't take into consideration GLDA, fisheries, NARI.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why it's not here.
Sorry, it includes GLDA, NARI, fisheries, etc.
So based on your response, Mr. Chair, sorry.
Go ahead.
Based on your response, Minister, can you tell us how many senior technical do you have in the region for agriculture?
Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah, so I'm trying to clearly haven't been successful. I'm trying to explain that what you see in the regional budget does not necessarily reflect all that is happening in the region. So there are Ministry of Agriculture staff that is paid for by the Ministry of Agriculture reflected there, who are working full-time in the region. Technical, senior skilled, contracted, temporary, the whole works. And so you don't see it all reflected here.
Just a quick follow-up. So those staff that you're now referring to, they do not report to the REO?
Yes,
Yes, they do.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now
Mr.
put
Chair.
Honorable Member Mr. Jordan.
Mr. Chair, if I may turn the minister's attention to page 318, the volume 2, the performance indicators. Under strategies, it says to improve food and nutrition security, and the impacts is to have enhanced food and nutrition security. Indicator number 16 speaks to number of measures to ensure food availability, accessibility, utilization, or nutrition and stability within the region. Mr. Chair, I would just like to ask the minister, what are those measures? Because when I looked earlier on the health, I saw that in region 1, the number of pregnant women within that region with anemia stands at 10%. So I just want to ask of the minister, what are those measures to ensure the food availability?
Minister?
A variety of measures, some proactive, some scientific. So we are looking at more resistant crop types and varieties, resistant to weather, to pests, to the things, the vagaries that might be existing in the particular topography or geography of the region, of the country. We're also actively and proactively doing things like building shade houses and managing and producing from shade houses. We're looking at climate smart agriculture. So a variety of things to make us even more self-sufficient. You would know that we have been declared as the only country in the world who has, is, and can produce, who has produced, is producing, and can produce all of the food groups that its people need. And so we should all be very proud of that.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Member, Ms. Halley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm also at volume 2. The indicators number 5 and 6 talks about flooding. It says acreage of farmlands affected by flooding are 15 last year, and number of farmers affected by flooding are 32. And the target for this year is 0, which is good. Can the Honourable Minister state what exactly is being put in place to ensure that this target is met?
Honorable Minister.
So a massive program of empoldering farmlands, which would prevent rising waters from entering into farmlands and thereby causing flood damage, as well as seasonal cropping. If we know which crops are affected by floods, then we can plan effectively not to be affected by what kind of crops we grow during those seasons.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you,
Ms.
Mr. Chair. And final question. Indicator 7 says KM to or farm to market roads constructed, and the target for 2026 is 10. The first question is whether or not the 10 kilometers would see that all farm to market roads are constructed. If not, what would be the total that is required for us to be at 100% where that is concerned?
Honourable Minister.
This is a huge region. So I don't even have to ask for advice. To say that this would cater for all farm to market roads, considering that in these kinds of regions, the ownership and or occupation of land is wide and varied and sometimes singular. People live so far away from each other. I wouldn't venture to say that this would cater for all farm to market roads. It caters for what the thing says, 10 kilometers.
I understand. But the second question was if the minister has a sense of how many farm-to-market roads would be required for us to be at 100%, and if that is ever possible given the demographics, the state of the region.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's I don't like to use words, it's not possible. But if you know the kind of isolated farms we have across these geographies, in flat places like, let's say, the Maikoni River, you'd understand the kind of undertaking you're asking for. Region 1 is actually not flat, so that even makes it more complicated. So no, we don't have a figure that says how much roads we would have to build to take everybody's produce from their farm, isolated up some mountain, down some valley, on some flat land, to a market. No, we don't have that information right now.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the sum stated for Program 715 Agriculture current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Please turn to page 554. And I propose a question that the sum stated for Agency 71, Program 715, Agriculture capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, Honorable Member Ms. Halley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, 130-1200. There's provision for a number of agricultural development initiatives. Can the Honorable Minister state what those initiatives will be for this year?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, please. That would be the construction of 6 shade houses at Mabaruma, Wanakai, Marrakesh, Wallaba, Surprise Hill, and Tassawini. Construction of plant propagation nursery at Quibana and Matthews Ridge in Matarkai. The empoldering of 100 acres of farmland at Hotakwai, Aruka River, and the Mabaruma Subdistrict. Purchasing of swing fog machines, motorized whistleblowers, mist blowers, and farm tools.
Thank you.
And you know, this just gives us a really beautiful snapshot of how across the country, deep in Region 1, at the top of the map there, agriculture has not been forgotten. Farmers have not been forgotten. They're being completely supported through Budget 2026, where we are putting people first.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for Program 715 Agriculture capital expenditure stand part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, this concludes our consideration of the estimates for Region Number 1. We have 2 minutes remaining.
Thanks
This
a lot,
is a
guys.
good time for
So I
us.
wanted to thank all the officers at Region 1. Again, if you look, sir, these are the head of our health system in Region 1, head of education, head of agriculture, our REO, and look at them. A picture of Guyana, dedicated servants of our soil.
Thank you very much, and let me thank you and also your staff from Region 1 for taking us through your head. Honorable members, this is a good time to take the suspension for 1 hour. We return at 5:18.
Yeah.